Radio Rahim with Frank Warren. Frank, have you had an opportunity to speak to Joe Joyce yet?
No, briefly in the ring, but he was recovering. He's in the dressing room. I've been stuck doing this, trying to get to the dressing room.
As you know, after a fight like this, he's going to be pretty broken up about his performance.
Yeah, he's to be broken up. He was doing all right up to the first 2 rounds. There was nothing in it whatsoever. He was negating the southpaw style of Zhang, but unfortunately he lapsed of concentration. He's then moved the other way and had a little bit of an exchange and got caught with a world-class punch, and it was a world-class knockout.
Decisions like what happens next is often tough after a loss, but fighters lose and good fighters lose.
Fighters lose and come back. We've seen it. I've seen that on many occasions. He's 38. He's not a youngster, but he's not got a lot of miles on the clock as far as being a pro boxer is concerned. He's his 16th fight, I think, or 17th fight, and we'll see. It's up to him. But he seriously needs to consider it, because it's not going to be an easy journey back. There are some good fights out there, but none of the fights are easy.
You still consider Joe Joyce a top heavyweight?
Yeah, I think. Well, look, a top heavyweight. You're going to decide that on his next, if he does fight on, in his next performance.
Wilder's a kind of fight that might bring a guy back, especially in the heavyweight sweepstakes. Could you see Zhang or Joyce possibly making that fight?
It'd be a great fight. I mean, him and Zhang would be an unbelievable fight, wouldn't it? I mean, look, this guy's done everything that's been asked of him. Even the only loss on his record against Hrgovic, I thought he won that fight. And Hrgovic was being touted as being the next big thing, and I think he certainly, for me, won the fight. His last 2 performances have been world class. He boxed brilliantly the last one, and this one, it was bombs away.
And lastly, you've done so much in boxing, but no one's ever done the promotion of the first Chinese heavyweight champion. You think we could see that in Zhilei?
Well, we've been talking about. We had approaches prior to this fight about going to China if he won the fight. Well, he has now, so we'll see what happens.
How many fights does Zhilei Zhang have left on his deal at Queensbury?
He's promoted by us. I mean, we're his promoters. And he's got fights with us. Don't you worry about that.
Is it a likelihood that we see Zhilei Zhang back in Saudi Arabia on the undercard if Fury Usyk does get made next?
I don't know what we're going to do at the moment. It's all too soon. The fight's only just happened tonight, so it's to even think about that at this stage is a waste of time.
And just lastly, from myself, Joe Joyce, what is next at 38 years old?
I think he's got a lot to think about. I mean, obviously it's very raw, and he's not going to make a decision now, but over the next few weeks, I'm sure the people around him are going to give him their opinions and so forth. And at the end of the day, he's got to make his decision.
Thanks, how shocked are you with how that fight ended tonight?
I was shocked. I thought if he got beat, I thought he'd have got beat on points. I thought the first couple of rounds I mentioned earlier, I thought he was dealing with it. There was nothing in it, but Joe's got a good chin. We've seen it, seen on many occasions it being tested. But this guy caught him with a world-class punch, and Zhang's put himself in the top 4 heavyweights in the world.
A lot of people suggesting Deontay Wilder could be the next opponent. Is that something that could be made?
Well, we'll have to see it. We'll sit down, and we've got to sit down with his team, and we'll work out what we're going to do. But no doubt about it now, he's a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division.
Just in hindsight now, was the extra weight for Joyce detrimental?
They both come in heavy. What are you going to do? He got his tactics right in the first 2 rounds. It was a lapse, and that's what happens. It's called heavyweight boxing.
Do you think now that the conversation's there for him to fight Tyson Fury?
See what happens after Tyson's fight.
And do you think, obviously with Tyson fighting out there with the heavyweight scene as it is at the moment, do you think other fighters would have come under the same criticism, like AJ, Usyk, if they were taking the fight that Fury's taking right now?
I don't really care, Tyson, we tried to make all those fights and we couldn't make them with anybody, and Tyson's moved on, and we were involved in one of the biggest events to take place in sport, and that'll be on the 28th of October in Riyadh when he's opening the festival there. It's going to be a massive event, and after that we'll see what happens. All I know is up until was it 2-3 days ago, 180 odd million people had watched and watched back the press conference. So there's a massive interest in the fight.
I hope to see you in China. Radio Raheem with Frank Warren.